we are missing some of our players, but that's okay. I used to have a boss that said, for the benefit of those of you that are here on time, we'll start on time. Well, I've already screwed that part of it up, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our quarterly liaison meeting. My name is Mike Schaefer. I'm the board president here at Costa Mesa Sanitary District. Our district engineer was just here, Mark Esker, and I had to make him leave. He's wearing a San Francisco 49er cap, and that is not allowed. That is not allowed. First item of business is to go around the table and introduce all yourselves. So why don't we go ahead and get started with that? Jim, I'm going to start with you. We'll go this way.
Jim Atkins, Mesa Water District. Rick Bachmiller, Mesa Water District. Jeff Trader, Newport Mesa Unified. Bob Luton, Costa Mesa Sanitary.
Brett Eccles, Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
Maria, City of Costa Mesa.
Asociaram, City of Costa Mesa.
Jason Minner, Costa Mesa Parks and Rec Director.
Lauren Gameros, defensive tackle, 49ers.
Councilmember, get your stuff again.
Can I take the red bag with me?
It could be worse.
Yeah.
It could be worse. You could be like a Dallas Cowboy.
Hey, no.
Actually,
Just so everybody knows, the city manager and the mayor are on their way.
I'm Art Berry, Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
I'm Scott Carroll, Joe Manager of Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
I'm Andrew Barnes. I'm a member of the public and also a member of the City of Costa Mesa Active Transportation.
I'm Krista Whitehand. I'm Newport Mesa School Board Clerk. Ashley Anderson, Board President.
welcome all of you to our facility. I was just thinking, Lauren, it could be worse. You could be a Charger fan. And yeah, shouldn't say that in Costa Mesa, should I?
I get a lot of grief for wearing the CDM hat too, so I know the feeling.
Okay, this is the time for public comments. Anybody? We have some public here, so go ahead.
Thank you very much. As I just said, I'm Andrew Barnes. I'm a member of the Costa Mesa Active Transportation Committee. And I've come here for an invitation from Marlon Reynolds to provide an update on some of the bicycle safety issues at the facility. Through our committee outreach, we're aware that many folks in this room are pursuing similar activities, and many have voiced that this is a critical need in light of the surge in bicycle and e-bike ridership and the relatively new demographic of teen e-bike riders that are below the California legal driving age. So one of the training opportunities that we're really excited about and for which collaborators are welcome is a community-wide bicycle and e-bike event. We're in the initial planning phases right now, and we're working to nail down some of the critical paths and just however, we're looking to stage the rodeo during the weekend of May 20th. And then nonprofit Walk and Rollers, one of the leaders of bicycle safety trucks in California, so the effort and to supply the core elements of the event. So credit to Councilmember Webb for making this connection and development opportunity. Walk and Rollers is currently conducting training events within our school district and funding from the OC STEP program through OC Healthcare Agency. Walk and Rollers recently completed a bike safety event at Wilson School through this program, and that event provides the model for this larger, broader community event. While Walk and Rollers will provide the core elements of the event, we're coordinating with them, collaborating with additional stakeholders to expand the event to target a larger portion of the community by e-bike ridership. The vision includes activities that appeal to our target demographic, increased participation such as bike demos, food stands, e-bike challenge course, music, DJ, giveaways, and raffles. Outreach to our local business community that we've done through the Active Transportation Committee. We've got several bicycle industry businesses that have relevant experience and expertise, and the willingness and the interest to participate in such events. So we're really reaching out to them for their help and participation. And given the vision of the participation goals and size of the event, we're in search of a more efficient space, stage event. We're working with the Mason School District to evaluate the use of Estancia High School. And I'd like to thank Trustee Anderson for your help in coordinating communications with this small. I know there are many in this room that are planning related initiatives of bicycle safety and throughout our community, and we enthusiastically endorse those and support those. If there's interest amongst the agencies to develop some partnerships, I encourage that so we can deliver this event and make the most out of it. And I'd be willing to help make that happen. If anyone's interested. Of course, if there are folks here that are interested in partnering or participating in our community-wide event, we welcome that. We'll be working between now and May to secure. Thank you very much.
Listen, Andrew, I'd like to help you guys with the stuff.
Excellent.
We have some latecomer, we have some people that have joined us. So I'll start with Paul. Go ahead.
Yes, Paul Schoenberger, General Manager at Mesa Water District.
Next,
Oh, my name is John Stevens. I'm the mayor of the great city of West Mason.
Michelle Murphy, Newport Mesa trustee.
welcome. Breakfast was handmade, literally by our staff, so don't just leave it sitting back there. If you leave it sitting back there, Bob Uten will take it all. Okay, moving down the agenda then, we're going to start with our general manager, Scott Carroll from the sanitary district, who's going to let you know about a couple of things that we're doing here at the district.
Mr. President. I have to pull it back up. Molly. Thank you. If you recently drove by HQ in our grounds, I apologize the way it looks. It does not look very appealing. Prior to all the rain we received, we did actually shut our water off to continue to do our part to conserve water and just, because we were planning on doing some improvements. Then all the rain happened and we started falling. Weeds are like this high, and this week is whacked all down. And looks a little bit better, but we're planning on going out to bid here in a couple of weeks to install plant a drought tolerant landscape out here in HQ. And some of the nice features of this project is that we are going to be putting in a bioswale down here of rocks and plants that will absorb the water when it rains and goes into the water table. We are going to be removing, you notice on here on Red Hill, there are some eucalyptus trees. If you want to know what they're really supposed to look like, look at the trees across the street. Beautiful trees, right? Because we have power lines, they're popped off and they just look horrible. And so they're all here, so we're going to remove those trees. We're going to remove a couple of trees here on Pellegrino, about 10 trees tall we're removing, and then we're going to replace with 26 California native trees. It's going to be drip irrigation. Thank you to Mesa Water helping us. We're going to get some grants on that, about $20,000 grants for drip irrigation. So all told, it's going to save us about 79% in water consumption, about $9,000 annually on water maintenance. So really excited about this project. And so just want to be on the lookout. So we'll be doing these improvements here real soon to do our part to protect the environment. So any questions?
Do you have like a rendering that shows what it looks like?
I just got this at this point, yeah. But you got a bunch of shrubs and trees. Now, eventually the city's gonna come here and do a sidewalk. But until then, we'll just put plants there. Yeah, we're really excited about that project.
All right, you want to talk about trash and recycling then?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So last Monday, it was a board meeting, and after a year of negotiation with CR&R, our hauler, the board did approve an amendment to that agreement, and I want to thank the board. We met like 4 or 5 times, reviewing the agreement, has some good comments, suggestions, incorporate those changes. I think we have a really good comprehensive amendment. The big issue with that is SB 1383, which cities as well aware of is, you have to now recycle food scraps, no longer throw it in the trash. Come 2024, we could fine you for that, unfortunately. The state's forcing us to be trash cops, which we didn't want to do. but that is the reality. The reason I put this on the agenda, last week, our Citizens Advisory Committee had a meeting. We talked about what some good outreach efforts, and they suggested maybe we team up with the school district officials, maybe doing some assemblies at the schools. And I thought it might be a good opportunity also for the city, that maybe the city can partner with us as well. Be another opportunity, good collaboration between the city, the school district, and the district. So my question with the school district official is like, who do we reach out to? I know it's too late for this school year, but thinking for next school year, who do we reach out to schedule those assemblies? Do we go directly to the principals? Do we go to headquarters? Who do we go to start that process? So I'll pose that question to the school district officials.
Our superintendent is at the superintendent today, so if you apologize for not being here. We'll let our director who oversees all of our.
Is that director of operations or?
No, she oversees all of our principals and employer maintenance.
Okay, so do I reach out to her then?
I'll reach out to you.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Thank you.
I have a question on that. How are you going to enforce the fact that they have recycled scraps?
We're gonna do, what we do is a waste characterization study. And first what we do is we're doing that right now, is that we'll take samples to the neighborhood and they take it to the MRF and they spread it all out and they do a comparison of how much is mixed with food waste. And the goal is to be about 10% that's allowable in the state. You can have about up to 10% of food waste with your mixed waste. If it's over 10%, then what we do is we notify everyone in that neighborhood, say, hey, we did a waste composition study. We noticed X amount of waste. FYI, you need to put your food scraps in the green cart, otherwise you could get a fine. And right now we're looking at, $25 a fine that can go up the more times you violate. I think the state recognizes really the best way to change people's behavior is got to hit them in the pocketbook. And so hopefully we don't go down that road, but the state's looking for us. They're looking for people to get fined.
The state is really asking us to open the lid and look in at individual. And we've never really done that, except for maybe some characterization studies that we've done over the years. But now we're actually going to be opening lids and looking in to see what's in what's going to be the new 3-cart system. And if there's a violation, they're going to get tagged, and they get 3.
Yes, they'll get silver warnings first. They'll get silver warnings.
Then they get hit with money.
Then you get hit. So it's not going to be right off the bat, but we give them several attempts to change their behavior.
So it's more like a neighborhood to get fined, not just
No, it'll be
It'll be
an
the individual house.
individual house.
You get it down, then you get it down to the individual house that by looking actually in
Yeah,
tags.
look into it. You can easily lift it up. You can lift it up the next way.
It's usually pretty obvious when, oh yeah.
So it has to be pretty egregious.
Yeah. I mean,
Depending on what the state.
Also, we gotta
depending on what
have,
states-
we gotta, take pictures, have evidence, all that stuff. We just, we're gonna find something. We gotta have good evidence that they violated the code.
Why eat everything? No food waste.
Oh, I was thinking about this. If you want, we do have these on the front. Please grab one on the way out.
Okay, great.
Okay, so this is a great way to put your food scraps in here. Now, we do not recommend you put your food scraps in here and just leave it there on days. Basically, the way I use it, I have one at home. I align it with a compostable bag, and basically, whenever I'm prepping food or I have any leftovers, then I'll scrape my plate off, put it here, then I wrap up the bag and take it to the organic cart. So these are brand new. We just got these, so please, they're out in front. Take one on your way out. So.
And fill it up with some breakfast if you're so. Good, Fred.
So as an extent now with the CMS department SWAT team and we look at these bids, but I understand that it's a bit of a joke, but once your bid is in the public right of way, you have no control over what happens to that bid. How are you going to prove that anything in that bid actually came from any person in the house? Literally, you have a very difficult time proving that.
Yeah, we're trying to.
It was out in the street. I left in the morning. I have no idea how any of that stuff happened.
Exactly.
You can't prove that.
We're waiting for guidance from the state. So in about 20 years, they'll.
With the public right of way, you're no longer responsible for the comments. There's no way you can be responsible. Anybody walking by can dump anything.
How many times? How many times have you seen someone walking their dog and when they have that little bag, they look like closest trash can and they don't care which trash can.
Hey, the truth is, in my neighborhood on the west side of Costa Mesa, the best side has got a great future. The people walking their dogs and leave things on the lawn. I would be very happy if they had a little bag and put it in our dumpster. That'd be great.
I live on a corner and I know, I know.
You know the situation, but seriously, I think you guys are gonna, I feel for you. It's the state imposed something on you. It's not your fault. But I do feel for you because there's gonna be people that are gonna say, hey, wait a minute, no, it'll be fine.
We did do a waste characterization in the west side, believe it or not, there was one of the best results, I think like 14% contamination.
Really, that's
Yeah,
good.
it's really good, yeah, did really well.
That's great.
Bert and I both grew up on the west side, so we can. By the way,
We think it's a dust site also.
It is.
you need to talk to the local news stations about their helicopters and chasing people through our city last night.
I heard about.
And the reporters, all the reporters kept saying, well, now they're driving through Newport Beach. And he was turning right on 17th Street off of Boulevard. Come on.
We should get our fair credit for car chases.
That was a good one yesterday.
No respect.
That's bad.
Thank you.
Targeting middle schools and high schools or elementary schools too? What's the?
I think all schools are great. I think we should hit them all, so maybe we, I know my team is working on a plan. We'll be presenting a preliminary plan to the board in the end of February. We'd like to share it with you. And definitely, I think the high school, middle schools definitely should be included.
We've decided, or some of us have figured out, if we're going to meet these mandates from the state of California, it's not going to be by going out and educating mom and dad and grandma and grandpa. We need to educate the kids so that the kids go home and say to mom and dad, don't put that in that trash can, And so that's why we're going to look to you guys for some help. And
the kids have no problem shaming us, right?
they have they
have no issues.
I've actually already been approached by College Park. I have a granddaughter at College Park, and they're looking at doing a program for Earth Day that I think we're going to try and help them with. So anyway.
This week too, which is an education. With partner with the Harbor County.
We have Brett, I'm sorry, go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
Just a quick comment because I meet with plants over the district frequently, and the big concern with the school district is landscaping, grass and things like that. And he hasn't quite figured it all out, and there, because of the cost of your current provider, it's a messy deal. And then the other thing is, of course, at the schools themselves, the average kid, are they going to separate all? Because if it were me, heck no. It's going to be a challenge at the individual schools for the food. It's going to be a big challenge for all the landscaping, the field mowing, all that stuff. Obviously, as he's pointed out, at the homes, I'm in an HOA and we're battling. It's the state. We all know what the end point is, but how it all gets there is going to be interesting. So,
One of the big challenges we've already seen is cardboard has to be broken down before you can put it. And now with the proliferation of cardboard in our society now, if you look in some of the nobody breaks their cardboard down, but it's going to be imperative. So when they get their new blue recyclable carts, there's going to be a sticker right in the middle of it that says, break down your cardboard. We'll see. We have another late arriving guest. Go ahead, Lorianne. Welcome to our facility.
Thanks, guys. So somebody triggered me with Earth Day. We're gonna do Earth Day again this year, right? So that might be a good opportunity for you guys to do some community education about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, who wants to handle the Estancia Theater discussion?
So we're making really good progress on that. We're in the design phase, and at the next board meeting, we'll be reviewing the design for the board, take their feedback. And so we're moving along. So it's looking good.
What area are you going to put the theater in?
The area there, the parking lot by the tennis courts. That's where the theater's going to go.
You guys are on a roll. You're next for the field use update.
So on the field use, we just want to make everyone, I think most folks are aware, we're doing a cost study to see what our costs are. And we're getting to the end of that. We've met with several groups in the city and the community to go through how we get to those numbers to make sure we have concurrence on at least how we get to the number. And after that, then we'll be, having some discussions with the board about field use. It's interesting. We have a lot of field use, and so we need to maintain the field so that they're meeting the expectations of the community. So, anyways, there'll be some discussions about that. So, anyways, we're probably a couple months away before we get there. We're still in the study phase of looking at our costs, and then we'll be meeting with the board to find out how we can fine tune the facility use and look at all of the different folks that use the fields and how they should be categorized. So, any questions?
That's very helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a process that needs to happen, but the involvement with kind of the ad hoc committees and things like that. The finished product will come out, and as you guys all know, when the public has buy-in in the beginning, it makes your job easier. So it'll be good. Lance's doing a great job and all this stuff. So excited to see that come through.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else from the school district? Might keep teaching my granddaughter Mandarin. She's doing really good.
I was just there yesterday.
She's in first grade and it's amazing.
I was in her class, I was there yesterday, it's incredible. They all stood up and sang 2 different songs, and they practiced for 5 minutes, it's amazing.
All right. Who wants to take over from the city?
Oh, no, I don't, because I'm just looking to see if there's anything that I have a particular expertise on.
We better turn it all over to Lori Ann. Just go ahead.
So I think on number 8, though, that sounds like something that Councilmember Camaros could tell us.
Okay,
Project labor agreement and apprenticeship programs.
why don't you head it up, because I didn't know I was gonna speak on it, but I can speak to your blue, so.
So the city entered into a project labor agreement last year with the LA Orange County Trades Association, and we outlined a number of projects, and many of them over $1 million that the trades would be able to work on. And so it was a long time coming. Pretty excited about the opportunity to work with the trades and get these city projects done. As part of the agreement and the negotiation, we included a number of things, including a free apprenticeship program, which Councilmember will describe shortly. It's his brainchild, and so we're really excited to have an opportunity to work on that. But basically, the highlights of the project labor agreement is that Costa Mesa residents will have sort of first priority to work on our projects. It's a great linkage to the community and bringing jobs locally. And so there'll be a monitoring firm that we'll bring on to make sure that this is increasing local jobs. Also, folks that are disadvantaged or and could be, and we have definitions for that, and there are different criteria for how to meet that in terms of income levels, so that even some folks that, for example, they're in a homeless shelter, could have an opportunity to learn a trade, learn a skill, and actually become employed. And so it has a number of different requirements that need to be met. But one of the great hallmarks of it is this pre-apprenticeship program, and having an opportunity to work with the school district, hopefully to partner and really create a track for our youth to be able to participate and learn a trade. And so we haven't gotten it off the ground. We hope to have a meeting with the school district to get that all started with Les. But the brainchild is Councilmember Veneros, and he was instrumental in that part of the negotiation.
Thank you very much. So for those of you who don't know, I've been in the union over 20 years. I'm a 3rd generation union member. I worked my way up from the ground up, knowing nothing, to being a coordinator and overseeing a program that facilitates tens of millions of dollars worth of revenue for people that come in that have absolutely no education in the building trades or construction or anything. You take people from multiple school districts. I travel all around Southern California, from San Diego past Santa Barbara, I go, you name it, Burbank Unified, Brea, just go down the list. I go to high schools at least 3 a month. What I wanted to do was partner up with Newport Mesa Unified School District, because I have a lot of contacts. I know the head of the Orange County, LA County building trades. They would love to work on a partnership. I know all of the other trades that put together and work with pre-apprenticeships. I'm the chairman of the Southern California Apprenticeship Council for Southern California. I'm going next week to San Diego to the California Apprenticeship Council for the state, where all of the state leaders for apprenticeship will be, and we'll be talking about what kind of programs are offered. We basically can put together a program for the youth of our community, not only the youth, but anybody who's interested, and give them an opportunity to get livable wages without having to go and try and get a college. Let's face it, some of the people in our community are gonna be digging holes for a living. That's me. I'm one of them. The first thing I said when I was thinking about coming on council is, I'm not a land use attorney. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a land planner. I dig holes. Like when the toilet plugs, they run to me, come fix this, right? So everyone said, this is what we need. We need someone like you, a boots on the ground kind of thing. And that's what I want to bring. I've talked to our city leaders. I've talked to our community leaders, homeless shelter leaders. Everybody wants to see something like this come in. It's a wonderful opportunity. There's a lot of moving parts. So I don't want to bore everyone with it. But what I can tell you is we have the opportunity to bring to this community a leadership role for the entire county, where we can offer livable wages for those coming out of high school, for those that are homeless, for those that are maybe in between jobs and looking to switch careers. We have the funds, we have the knowledge, and we have the space available to do it. It's just a matter of someone to like put it together. That's what I want to do. So there it is. Yes.
When you deal with information, you talk about teachers in the classroom, just outside the classroom.
So some things that we talked about, Ashley and I talked about it briefly. The programs that we would offer would range from the building trades. And when I say building trades, if you don't know what I mean by that, it's welders, pipe fitters, iron workers, heavy equipment operators, general labor, working out at the port, stuff like that. But in addition to that, we also have other opportunities. We have hotel workers, we have the Teamsters, we have the retail clerks union. For someone, you know, this is not just for construction workers, this could be for anyone. So we have to kind of devise a way that we create an after-school program. If you're not familiar with SOY, Save Our Youth, it would be similar to Save Our Youth in that we would need to have a place to house it. You would have to have someone that would be kind of a director of the program and create and oversee and be the face of the program moving forward. So that's kind of like what we're looking at.
Studio, which is a planner on the all of our senior for technical education. A lot of infrastructure already. It's just kind of setting all of that.
Moving down the line, you guys have the floor for the next several items, so go for it.
Thank you. The next two are mine. Update to the joint use agreement. This is something we've been talking about for a while, but we do have monthly meetings with the district, with Jeff and Lance, and putting together all of our thoughts on the joint use agreement before we engage the public in potential updates to it. The second piece, the joint use open space, was trying to work on a pilot project to open up some of the park space or the school space on the west side, so that the residents that don't have access to parks have at least some options for green space, for playgrounds, potentially courts. So we're in the middle of those discussions as well. So thanks to Jeff and Lance for that during our monthlies. That's it.
The next one's Roger.
What did you guess? So we'll pull up a presentation. We made this presentation to City Council. It's an exciting project on Placentia. We are actually going to be redoing that street all the way from Adams. And part of the project would be a total mill and overlay type of project. That's between Adams and Wilson, and south of Wilson, it's more of a slurry type of project. So the project will include new signing, striping, and bike improvements too. And next slide. Here are the limits. Again, this is the entire stretch of Placentia, going from Adams all the way south. And we worked with our Active Transportation Committee in doing this project. We walked the majority of that project to find locations where we can add trees. And we're going to add about 39 trees. Some of them already added by now. So the project includes, as I mentioned, new pavement, that'll improve our pavement condition index for the city. We'll have enhanced bike markings and facilities. We have cycle tracks. I'll show that in the next slide. Buffered bike lanes and high visibility pedestrian crossings. So this is a example of cycle track. The picture on the right is Merrimack Way. So that's kind of replicated on Placentia between Adams and Estancia High School. We have that room to do that. So we'll have buffered bike lanes like this with green bollards. This is a typical intersection would look. Not sure why the top is black, but that should also be yellow. This is at Wilson and Placentia, but it'll be high visibility crossing. The bike lanes would come all the way to the intersection. Right now, sometimes they don't go all the way to the intersection, but they would with this project. You can see the lanes are a little bit narrower. That will help in slowing down the cars. And throughout this stretch of Placentia, even when you go south of Wilson Street, we'll have it won't be a full buffer like we have on Merrimack, but it'll be at least a 2-foot buffer between bike lanes and the vehicle traffic. So that's the project that's going to get started very quickly. We met on this project. We actually had a meeting with Newport Mesa on their school project too. We want to coordinate the efforts on this one, and we have some ideas. And it's going to be some impacts with the construction of the stadium and how traffic is going to be reorganized. So we have ongoing meetings on that too. So we'll be working with them to manage that.
On those bike lanes, when you do put those green pillars, are you seeing that they're really effective for taking everyone to ride in them and no cars are hitting them, or what are you seeing the impact of those?
So the green provides both protection for it doesn't really, if somebody hits that, it's designed to just collapse down. So if somebody is going really fast, they can actually ride through that. But it's supposed to provide a visual marker for somebody driving that watch out for bicycles and pedestrians on the side. So that's the big indication for that. And for people riding the bikes, that's kind of gives them a little bit extra buffer and some level of safety in riding along the streets. So
You could hear it. We did this, almost this exact same thing for it was the concert in the park that we did in 2020. Yeah. And we did one concert in the park and we set up these bike lanes. And the utilization of those bike lanes was off the charts. We probably had 500 people practically came because of this. So one of the things that's great and that we're trying to do with these bike lanes is not only make it safe, but just encourage people. More people are going to use the bike lanes and ride the bikes. They see it. So that's what we're hoping.
and by narrowing the lanes and giving all these more visual cues on the street, it will help in slowing down the speed of cars too.
So notice this too, if you ever drive I was just doing this a couple days ago. Drive up Harbor. The lanes in Costa Mesa are 12 feet. The lanes in Santa Ana are 10 feet. So what we're trying to do, and the Public Works Department is doing a great job. It's a major initiative with the City Council. And I gotta give credit to Arliss. She's really been focused on this, and really beating this into us as a body is to reduce speed and make our streets safe. And one of the things is the 10-foot lane is something that is kind of new to Costa Mesa. We've been doing 12 feet. Anytime you reduce the lanes, people go slower. So, slower, safer.
Can I ask Roger a question? When you do Adams Street project, are you gonna make those shorter also?
Yeah, narrower to, yeah, so that's going to be, I mean, ideally, we have more 10.5 foot range is what our sweet spot is, that we think is the best option. And it works on Placentia, especially because even though, so you have this 10-foot range and you have a buffer next to it, and you have 10 foot and you have a median next to it, so it does help because there are some like buses that are like 10.5 foot wide, mirror to mirror. So we just want to make sure that everybody's accommodated. Yeah, Adams will be similar thing, exactly the same thing. Yeah, we're the previous topic was the community workforce agreement, and we want to make sure that that is set up because that project falls under that category. So we need to have that in place, which you're working on. And it's gonna, Adams will be the next one, probably summertime construction. Yeah, we have the layout. Yeah, the construction is going to start.
So Mike, the car chases will be a lot slower.
Forget the car chases. As an insurance agent, I've been sitting here thinking, how do I tell my customers narrower is slower? They're not gonna believe you.
Well, it's like, it's completely psychological.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
I have a question on 18th Street and East End Costa Mesa by Harper Assessment Center. There's no, on the 400 block there, there's no more striping. You used to have those pillars in between, and now there's nothing. And there's that bike lane is used a lot by kids going to various schools. I don't know what the plan was there.
We actually did narrow that, we added the line striping to the location. And so, yeah, we tried that and we had some complaints because when we did was convenient, was signs and all that. It was getting hit by like trash trucks, by larger vehicles, so we have to rethink that. And now we have edge lines in that location to again make it narrower. Is that on that street?
Are you gonna strike the center lane? 'Cause there's no center lane.
It's a new way of thinking where we kind of don't do the simple line and we've actually, so we're mentioning that to see how that works.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a, yeah. So there's a space for the cars and there's space for bicycles outside of that. And then more space for the bicycles.
I want to go back to the curly lines when you come to a stop sign. With the fog. All you young people are going, what the hell is he talking about? All of it, before you came, when I was learning to drive, even before Art, there used to be, when you get to a stop sign, there would be a curly line. And that would tell you that a stop sign was coming if it was foggy. If it was foggy, you saw the curly line, you knew a stop sign was coming.
So I was driving yesterday on Royal Palm, and they've got those, like the bumps, I don't know what they're called, but
Nuisances.
the one interesting thing about it too is, like, to your point, they have these, pink markers to let you know that you're gonna come up against the bump. I think it's pretty good, Raja. I think we've tried different things there.
Actually, those, I'm on Royal Palm 6 or 7 times a day. And those, whatever those things are called, are much better than the sticks that were in the middle.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that those were interdimensional.
Is that what they're called?
Speed humps.
Westbound 19 very nice. Paper block intersection. And some reasons that were not. A bull valve was installed at the northwest corner. And they obliterated a portion of the paper blocks. What must be temporary asphalt pavement, because clearly they're going to go back and put the paving back that was there, that had been there for 30 years, in the far inferior asphalt. And then they have a temporary construction vehicle that's parked in what was the second go straight lane that has now been obliterated by the bulb out. So you have this temporary construction sign there. And it's bringing traffic problems, and it's impacting the service station that's on the east corner. And we go to the Shell station, which has a low price diesel fuel now. Which happens to impact me because it services all the Costa Mesa. It's the lowest price diesel in the town. All the tow trucks go there. All the older safety vans go there. Everybody goes there because it's the lowest price diesel fuel in town. And it has been for 30 years. So that temporary construction thing, that has to go. We need to get rid of that because it's obliterating and making difficulty. Makes the city look bad. You got a temporary construction lane closed sign there that's been there now for months. Why? The whole pulled out thing never announced to the neighborhood, and obliterated good paving, put in temporary asphalt paving, and put in a construction sign. What was that all about?
So that was the second part of the council presentation. So we awarded project on 19th Street, also was 19th Street. And we did have committee meetings on this. We did before the pandemic, after the pandemic too. So we had meetings on what to do on West 19th Street.
It wasn't announced to the neighborhood with the flyer coming. So this is the traffic changes we're going to impose on the neighborhood. Because there's backup traffic all the time.
Having 2 lanes going through, because even if you have 2 lanes that go through westbound, they drop immediately after the intersection. So now we are dropping the lane before the intersection. So as you go past Pomona, you're going from 2 lanes to a single lane, which would be single lane anywhere as you go west. And in the future, what you'll see as part of the Placentia and West 19 project, 19th is going to be restriped as you go west of Placentia. Will eliminate the center turn lane and will add bike lanes. So there will be 2 lanes, bike lanes, and parking. And this is something that, again, we went through the community input, we got that, and then we went through bike active transportation committee also. So we're going to see how this works out. Again, the intent is to have bike lanes, but also to bring down speeds of cars. You're going through a residential neighborhood and we have speeds of 35, 40 miles per hour. And if you look at the speed limit on 19th Street, West 19th, it is in that range. It is 30. We measured 35, but we were able to post 30 because it's a residential nature, but we want to bring it down further down.
So one thing we're also going to put stoplight walls.
19th hours. Yeah.
19 walls. Okay. Another stoplight.
So Fred, and
It's like 9 stoplights from my house.
yeah, and well, but the thing about it is, Fred, I mean, you know, you're certainly entitled to your opinion, but the for decades, the focus of streets and stuff was to move cars for, you know, quickly, efficiently. Okay?
Correct.
The change now is safety. So where we were thinking about the car and getting them to their house fast before, now we're saying, let's get them there safe. So it's a different way of thinking, and for like, you might be saying, I don't like that, because I want to be to my house 5 or 10 minutes quicker. And that is a sacrifice that people are going to do.
Yeah, so it's being imposed. It's a voluntary sacrifices are wonderful. Sacrifices imposed by people from the outside are perceived different. But my question had nothing to do with whether that we're putting in a light there. But my question is when is the temporary paving going to go away? And when is the construction vehicle going to go away? And we're going to not have this temporary paving and construction vehicle.
Yes, yeah, so project is starting. Awarded by city council on the last council meeting on the 17th. So the construction starts in February and it's both Placentia, West 19th. So hopefully in the next 3 to 4 months, it's going to be gone.
3 or 4 months.
I think it would be really helpful to the front side of the center. And it's really hard to see particularly at sunset when you're going towards West 19th and sort of have like that obstruction. It's really, that intersection has become even more dangerous sometimes. I think it'd be really wonderful to have communication. Decided like, this is what we're doing at 19th and Placentia, this is what we'll be doing at Placentia and Wilson, just so the people, because I think there are a lot of questions. And I think it'd also be helpful to say that one of the main pieces of that is ending west. Because there's so many storage facilities. So I think there also should be some signage changes, perhaps those who truck drivers that was behind a massive, like, Harley trailer that was trying to go down this morning and almost took out the bike. So I think we also need to make sure that we're really changing a lot of the signage because if someone's in a neighborhood. Similar with Wilson, that corner is so tight. But I think with a lot of community education, that we can send newsletters and let people know. And also some of the businesses. If they're having trailers, not having people.
I mean, I actually live in the city, it's not like I'm not informed, but I don't go to the bikeway to park with transportation committee meetings, and nobody in my neighborhood does either. And so everybody in the neighborhood was totally surprised to see this, and we're like, what is this thing? And it this is not something that, you know, yeah, we have community meetings, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the people who actually get impacted get it before.
We'll be happy to do more education.
Yeah.
We can do mail us.
Yeah, because it's just reality.
Postcards, just some information.
Yeah, and 19th is heavily used as an industrial truck traffic route. So is Placentia. The Adams to Placentia, Victoria to Placentia. Truck traffic all every day. And it's an issue. And it's not, and that's not going to go away because there isn't an alternative. Can't go to 18th. 17th isn't a viable alternative. They're going to be going down 19th. And we're seeing larger and larger trucks, not smaller. Truck, what used to be the soda truck, used to be the size of a pickup truck. It would come and deliver sodas to the liquor stores. Now the soda truck is a tractor trailer rig that can't even park in the parking lot of the liquor store anymore. They park on the street because they're too big. They can't even turn. So we're kind of, in a way, I understand the idea of slowing it down. This is all part of Strong Towns. There's some other good ideas that have been coming out about slowing down and making vehicle movement and transportation through the city safer for all potential users of the street. But the reality on this particular street is it's an industrial street with truck traffic, industrial and commercial with heavy truck traffic. It's all day, every day. And you've got a major conflict between the vision of a bikeway friendly city and 18-wheeler trucks doing deliveries to all the businesses along there every day. And I don't know how we're going to resolve that.
One thing you could consider is maybe having blackout times for when school traffic's gonna be happening, 7:30 to 9 or something like that. 2:30 to 4, no deliveries at these times, or don't block the street. And then you can, and also, develop an enforcement with PD that'll cure that real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah, just with all of this bike lane improvements and all the activity in the city, is the expectation that you're going to get e-bikes off the sidewalks?
Yeah,
I think that's
actually, yeah, that's the next topic, actually. We're kind of getting into that bike riding, bike lane safety. Yeah, I mean, it's important to educate more and more about that. So before e-bikes, the bikes are allowed on the sidewalk in our city when we don't have a bike lane on the street. So the street like like Harbor, for example. I mean, where you don't have bike lanes, people do ride on the sidewalks. Now, the e-bikes have created a new issue. It's not only here, it's a big issue in the South County and all the beach cities. There is a task force of countywide that is actually working on figuring out solutions on this, on this e-bike safety education. And we are partnering on that one, and we are working with our police department to bring education to our schools. We also have a project on our books to go through that process of educating not only the schools, but the public too on e-bike safety and how to ride that. It's encouraged that e-bikes especially be on the street, not on sidewalks. So enforcement is a big issue, so we need to work with police department on that.
Seems like there ought to be some sort of the education part that you're talking about, but also some sort of restrictions about the age limit for younger people.
Yeah.
Kids actually. Riding these things and not paying attention.
Yeah, it is
Even with the bike, you still got problems.
This is a big concern, and there are three classes of e-bikes, and then so there is the one class that is the highest class that requires you to have a driver's license to be riding it. But the problem is it's hard to say which one is which.
Right, they're visually. no
Visually, they all look the same. So there needs to be something at legislation level to it, and you know, to kind of figure this out. But I know our bike committee is actively looking at that too, and we are working on the education part of it. And I know our police department is doing their part.
And they help create that space, the separation between particular traffic, bicycle and e-bikes. That's the intent. So, you know, combination of enforcement, education, and infrastructure that help,
Yeah.
to help separate those two road events is an excellent strategy.
And Newport Beach is handling, they're having issues. You see that in the papers a lot. So it's on everybody's radar.
And it's not just on the roads, as Jason, some of you know, it's on our monthly agenda the last several months. Not only on the roads, on the school fields, on the city fields. People are getting taken out when you've got an event, say a soccer tournament, 500 people, kids are taking people out, also ruining the grass fields. So it's a problem everywhere. So, and Newport, yeah, like I said, same problem on Boardwalk.
Oh, yeah, it's big problem on the work, but there's also you know, it's not going away, so the state's pushing more bikes, right? So it's something that we just have to figure out how to make it, you know, it's here to stay. And I think there's a lot more ownership that we need to put on also the bike sellers, you know, the retailers of these bikes as well, because they know who they're selling to, and they know that should not be for someone that's 16 or and under, because it goes 35 miles per hour and higher. You know, so there is a lot of onus on other people, as well as like kids and parents, right? So they need to be educated on how to do that, how to ride their bikes. But yeah, I mean, it's something that I think it's easy to say, you know, they need a license and everything, but that's kind of, you know, legislation that has to come down from the state. So we as a city just have to make them feel how we can be safe, and as a school district, how do we make sure that they have the right training when they leave us to get out and get into our schools safely, but after that, that's a school district. We have the city. After they leave us and they're blocked out, where do they go from there? Because I've seen it where they leave our schools and they have their helmet on, they're great, they're not riding free to a bike, and it's awesome, and then they turn the corner like, you know, our principal's not watching me, and then I can go and do what I want, right? But as well as like that would be enforcement on the PD, but then you needed the PD for sitting there citing every child, and what does that do if you're citing a 14-year-old? So there's so many different nuances there where, you know, it's
I have, one of my sons is a motor officer in the city of Irvine. He loves giving e-bike tickets. He says, you know, and it's that same thing. They don't sit by the school. they go down the street a little bit. And of course, in Irvine, they're more entitled than they are here in Costa Mesa. So
I've interviewed every bicycle manufacturer, e-bike manufacturer, and retailer in Costa Mesa as part of our outreach and data collection. And to a person, they all have the same attitude that we voiced here, they actually have the expertise and the desire to help them train. They see their livelihood actually being endangered by the recklessness of the riders. And a lot of times, a parent will come in, buy a bicycle, and then give it to their child without any training. And it's permissible to allow the children to have no basic understanding of how to operate a vehicle on the road. And that's one of the incentives for our rodeo and training and partnering. The other thing I wanted to mention, it's just slipped my mind. You just mentioned, the police department. I can't speak for the police department, but in our outreach, Roxy, she's mentioned that the police department is working on education, and they have a strategy for motor officers to educate people who are breaking the laws. And then that will last for a period of time, 6 months or so, and then that will be followed by enforcement.
Yeah.
So they're aware of it, and they're coordinating their.
It's also something that's particularly annoying to see in the Facebook incident results that for this. Multiple people commented on it. That would seem to take place over by Heinz Kaiser Elementary, formerly Heinz Kaiser Junior High School. Crossing guard and being not a native English speaker, but a group of young hoodlums were running around yelling at her while she was trying to get people to stop their e-bikes to allow people to safely cross. So I can't understand you. You don't speak English. So you had this sort of like vicious, racist, verbal assault, ridiculous law breaking, and just ignorance, ignoring any kind of rules of society. So there's a larger issue here is that goes to the empowerment to the vicious students without responsibility. And they can just zip away because you can actually pedal but as far as I'm concerned, it just as a state law responsible, it should be absolutely illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to have an electric bicycle that does not require you to pedal while you're running a bicycle. It should just be absolutely illegal. That you should not have, you must have a bike that has the electric is only an assist, that it can't be primary power source.
I think they call those class 3 bicycles. There's a class 1, a class 2, class 3. Most bikes that are manufactured to the general public have a speed rating of 20 miles an hour or 18 miles an hour. But then you go on YouTube and you click the switch.
Yeah, it's a electrically commutated motor.
I remember for those of you who may remember, I was a terror on a moped. Okay,
Yeah,
for those of you who remember, and all this really is a modern day moped. If you think about it.
exactly.
But I don't disagree with you. My son has an e-bike. I'll look at him on the phone and he'll literally be at Huntington Beach Pier. I'm like, what? How did you get 15 miles away from the house? You know, he just goes on these really long road trips and it's dangerous. I agree with you. He's got a really nice bike, but I tell him, don't switch. Leave it at the speed that it goes, and that's it. And you know, I think a lot of it is the onus is on the parents to get with their children and say, look, we're giving you this thing, and these are the safety rules. And I think we need to also target the parents on this thing, really, because that's where it comes from. I've seen the ones that look like dirt bikes. They go 60 miles an hour, and they don't have pedals. They have pegs, so they look like dirt. They do wheelies, but they're $6,000. So I don't know how they.
Well, that's the other one is Harley's. You can find it. Yeah, so it even goes to small things. So on our little presentation here about bike lanes on 19th Street, there's a wonderful picture of 2 cute young ladies pedaling their bicycles. Flip flops. They don't have helmets.
So there's been some discussion through the city about whether we should get education or 6 months education, whatever. Well, I just want voice in the city, and I have 4 kids, and I don't care how young my kid was, if they got pulled over by a cop, they got a ticket for doing something unsafe, I'd be like, good. I know about it, and then the least of the would have been the ticket they got. That's right. From the cop, right?
Yeah, that would have been the least of the problems.
So, because, because it's that type of interaction, you know, with could save lives. Right?
100%.
And, you know, and they can figure out a way to.
Maybe, I'm new to all of these conversations, but we send out information to all the principals, who can send something to every parent in the Fort Mesa. And then most of them do, yeah, but we haven't, I haven't gotten nothing about you guys, didn't it?
I say you haven't, because I know Ensign, I mean, Ensign's been the primary.
Ensign is
Guys are
very
in
much
Ensign.
out on about.
There's not a lot of thing about like safety and nothing else. Neither is Costa Mesa.
What if we do something like a DUI checkpoint? I know it sounds funny.
We do that.
I know, but we do
E-bike
an e-bike checkpoint,
Yes,
get PD involved, funnel them all in, line them up. If you wanna make them do a breathalyzer too, be my guest, but you can check their bike.
So
You can get you can put it on a they make bike dynamometers. Crank that thing up and you see how fast it goes.
I've lost control of this, obviously. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Okay, Reverend.
Pastor Mike, yeah. Or Father Mike. You want, so we're on number 3. Let's move on to trash bins.
Number 13, yeah, so this was brought up to our attention as part of the Placentia project. So Scott, I'll send you the pictures, but along Placentia, there were a lot of waste bins that are along the, next to the sidewalk by the curb and gutter.
Each court has its own waste bin, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like lined up all along Placentia. So it's kind of, some of them are tilting, falling over, some of them are, are standing, but they're in that, encroaching into the bike lane. Not sure what the solution is, what can be done, but it's something that if you guys can look into it and see if there are any alternatives. And now, with the 3 trash bins, I don't know, that's going to complicate even more the number of bins that are going to be on the street.
I can definitely bring this to the board and have a discussion. Our code says the cars have to be on the street up and then up against the curb. We could require them to put them on the sidewalk, but then I think that's going to create an ADA issue with you guys. So I don't know where else to put them then,
And you guys, this is something I ask you, because I know exactly what I go north on 19th, that's in my division. Go along there and see that. You see those little the little houses that are like 6 little apartments, or 4 little apartments that are a little single story out, and each little apartment has a bin. Have you guys ever looked into the idea of, instead of having 1 bin per unit, is to essentially have some area of the CMSD service territory be dumpster service?
We do that. I mean, we give the landlord the option of that. And obviously the landlords along Placentia have opted for single cart bins.
I didn't know you had that option. Okay, yeah.
I think there's also a space issue. If they're gonna put a bin, then they're gonna have to close going to the city.
Yeah,
So that's
right.
another issue.
Yeah, they've got their own issues. There's lots of ideas as a potential, maybe the entities could get together and come up with a way to make it easy for the landlord to make the right decision.
I don't know if we can't put it on the sidewalk. I don't know where else to put them. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
On the side, on the bike lane and then the traffic. What else to do?
So at that point, the bikes right on the sidewalk, they're obviously, you got the trash bins and that.
Yeah, but in that part of Placentia, I don't think there is a sidewalk.
No,
Sidewalk, but again, it's pretty narrow. It's narrow.
Obviously, the issue with those places, as you know, is we can't send the trucks down the little driveway, because then they're going to have to back out to Placentia, which is even a worse safety issue. Yeah.
With our project, we're going to put the 2-foot buffer, so that will give a little extra room for the bikes, but still it's an issue. Dump day is our next item, if you don't mind.
Oh.
So this is mainly it's a bulky item pickup day. That's what it is. And we have been partnering with Caltrans, and this is actually supported by our Assembly Coordinator Norris office as well as Senator Minn's office too. And these are, well, we are hosting the event and we find sites, and the next one is going to be at Estancia School. So we thank the school district for that. It's paid completely by Caltrans. So, and that's why it's actually a countywide type of an event. So it's not just Costa Mesa, but we would encourage definitely our Costa Mesa residents to take advantage of this one, where you can drop off your bulky items. So on the March 4th event, we are also going to include shredding also. And there will be a Goodwill truck that will take items that can go towards Goodwill. So that's on March 4th between 8 and 11. But it's better to come early because if we usually have 10 bins and if they get full, they stop the.
Is it at the senior center again? Oh, it's Estancia. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because we are shredding, we want to have a larger side. And that's why
It's a great area to do it.
It is. I think to the benefit of all of you, CMSD still does offer large item pickups. Historically, we did those on a regular basis. You know, we would do them once a quarter or whatever, and each neighborhood would be notified that it's large item pickup day. The problem we were having with that is people would put all their stuff out and all the scavengers got the same notices. So nothing was, I mean, CRNR was going through and picking up nothing. At least now we have the element of surprise, and the scavengers still figure it out that, so our large item pickups have to be scheduled with our hauler, CRNR, and the resident gets the opportunity to put 10 items out, I think.
Yeah, 10 items a year, but I think that the dump day really helps multifamily.
That's
exactly
right. Our big challenge is the multifamily areas, and we constantly find mattresses and lots of furniture almost on a daily basis, and our staff goes around, picks them up, and we're trying to market this dump day quite a bit extensively to the multifamily.
If you have an alleyway anywhere near, right behind my office up Royal Palm, that alleyway, there's all, you guys are down there, unfortunately, a lot.
Mattresses we can get rid of every single year, but they keep showing up.
Why don't you contact the staff and put on their marquee for like a month ahead of time? People drive by Ascension all the time. That would help you a lot.
Talking about homelessness issues.
We have sites available for sometimes we use somebody from the house to get those off the street, for getting them services. We have a pretty strong outreach team that we people that are out there, outreach workers, and our outreach workers are pretty successful in getting people into shelter or getting them out. So at this point, we have 258 people that we can give us from homelessness to housing, and about half of that from our children, and the other half actually from our street outreach. So it's pretty good. And one thing I wanted to mention that in my comment is like the community have contracts with colors, and they go out and some of our clients from the shelter, we actually go out and do some projects. We have trash pickup, or just working on different things for the clients. It gives them a real sense of fulfillment, doing something positive, giving back to the community. And so a lot of our businesses have availed themselves of that help, and it's good for the clients and it's good for the community. And so feel free to reach out to us if you'd like some help with, community impact team. They're out there every day. I know Newport uses them pretty extensively as well. And then we have some rental assistance programs. So if you're aware of any families that are on the brink of eviction, we have relationships with Mercy House, with Families Forward, and they do rental assistance programs for up to even 6 months to make sure that folks aren't ending up on the streets. And so we're putting a lot of money towards it. We've been able to use our federal American Rescue Plan funds as well. So that's been good. But it continues to be a challenge. We're just trying to do the best that we can to get people off the streets, get them the services they need so that they can be self-sufficient, get them into housing. And then we did have a ribbon cutting for Families Forward, the 8 bungalows. You may have seen it in the news, but 8 affordable housing units there. It's 36 people. Right, 36 people. So it will be for families, really beautiful units. And so just continue to try to work our way down the problem, but it still continues to be a challenge for sure.
One of the things you're gonna see from this council is the homelessness and housing. Major priorities. And if I read this interesting book, and the title says it all. Homelessness is a housing problem. Is the name of the book. But when they studied the problem, they realized if you look at the reasons any person would be homeless, say, well, mental illness, drug addiction, unemployment, some tragic string of bad luck, whatever. They said there's no connection between like a region that has high homelessness and a region that has low homelessness. There's no data that shows that the region with high homelessness has more mental illness or more drug addiction, right? The thing that explains the disparity between like Los Angeles or Southern California and like a place like Chicago is there's ample housing in Chicago as opposed to Southern California. So when you hear us move forward with things like Measure K, with things like creating more units, both affordable and market rate units in the city of Costa Mesa, understand that one of the reasons we're doing that is to address homelessness. In the city of Costa Mesa right now, the rents are extremely high, as I'm sure at some place you've experienced. We have 2% vacancy. That is an unhealthy lack of inventory of housing. Now you may look at the city and say, I don't want any more people in the city of Costa Mesa. Well, okay, the consequence of that is high rents and homelessness. So something to think about. And that's one of the reasons why we brought Measure K forward and why it passed by such a resounding
Wow.
22.
Let's just say it's not a mandate.
It's a lot.
As Lombardi used to say, is a win, right?
Exactly.
I guess it's probably what the 49ers did.
But but just keep moving on, Bach. No, come on.
I'm moving on. I just wanted to give some props to the city. I'm living on the west side, which was heavily impacted by homelessness, and as you know, and what the city has done has definitely improved the direct and severe negative impacts that I personally was experiencing and my neighborhood was experiencing from the homeless situation. It's definitely, no doubt, definitely improved.
And in terms of like localized impacts, the one thing I've learned is there's 3 things that you need to address localized impacts. Lighting, security, and activity. You have those 3 things, you don't have localized impacts. So now, of course, localized impacts don't solve the problem because then people just move to some other place that's dark and inactive
Yeah.
and with no security. So it doesn't solve the problem, but it solves the low line.
Thank you guys very much. Paul, I might turn it over to you.
Sure, yeah, thank you. This is our current water supply conditions update, and I've been smiling a lot the last month. Whenever it rains, I smile. And yeah, free product coming down, that's a beautiful thing. And our overall, we're in a much better situation than we have been in a long time. Last 3 years have been really dry. So just a couple of things, and if you guys love graphs, you're gonna love this presentation. So the state water project on the right is in black, and that's the state aqueduct that comes and brings water to Southern California. It gets almost all its water from that shaded area in Northern California there. Yeah, so if you just go back one. In the upper left-hand graph, you'll see that gray area, that's the 150-year average of each month's precipitation. And you can see for that area that feeds the state water aqueduct, November was slightly below normal, December double, January double. You know, so we're doing really good. The bottom graph, again, the gray on the bottom is your historical average. And so this year we're 100 at this point in time, we're 50% over normal. Almost an entire year's worth of water has fallen in that area right there. So that's fantastic. Next slide. And this is the same area, and now, yeah, if you can click again. So that, yeah, click 2 more times. So the last 3 years, the bottom line, the lines have been way below average. So, you know, it's been very dry, and we all know that. 4 years ago, it was very wet, probably the wettest year we've had. And so the red, this is for that same area. You can see that we're way above average. And then if you project an average year for the rest of the year, we'll be well above average for that state water project. And then we can go to the next one, and this is the same area. So yeah, click one more time. There you go. So last year, our water year, you know how we started off really wet in December and then just stalled out, and then that was pretty much it. This is lining up all the water years from 1921 to this year, and you know, from the lowest to the highest. And you can see, you know, every year it's one of these random bars here. So last year we ended up slightly over average because of the huge December rainstorm. This year, if we do have kind of normal rain for the rest of the year, we will end up in that yellow spot right there. So so yeah, we're doing really good so far this year. Next slide. So the snow, so there's rain. What we really love is snow, because snow stays up in the mountains and then slowly through the next few months is going to come down, and that's the stuff that we can capture. If you get 5 inches of rain in one, you know, swoop, it's going to flush out to the ocean. If it comes in snow, then we are really happy. So you can see that in Northern California, we are 184% of normal for the year. And we actually have a little bit more than we do in a typical entire year. So we're looking real good with the snowpack, and the squiggly lines on the bottom are the last 3 dry years. So you can see we're substantially better this year. Next slide. And then on the state map on the left, they kind of break up the Sierras in 3 areas. Northern Sierra, which feeds the state water project, which comes here. The Central Sierras, which on the east side feeds the LA aqueduct that comes in the city of LA.
Southern Sierra, some of that goes to LA, most of that goes to the farms in Kern County. And you can see on the left, it says 104% at the top. That's 104%, year to date. So it's 100% would be your average yearly snowfall. So we're above the average. It's 184%. That's, compared to your average January. So it gets better as we go south. The Central Sierra has more snow, 130% of the annual average, 226% of your average end of January. And then Southern Sierra, 150% of an average year already. So things are going to be good for the farmers, and we are going to probably push off all of our lows at least 1 year. So going forward. So the Colorado River is the other main aqueduct that brings water into Southern California. Those two aqueducts, State Water Project and the Colorado River, supply about half of the water for Southern California. The other half is our local water. And this is a huge watershed. It's 9 states. The blue is your average, your historic average. You can see the last 3 years were down, but not as dramatic as California was. And we are looking really good. Not as dramatic as California again, but we're presently at 132% of normal for the Colorado. So this is all looking good. Our reservoirs are rapidly rising, and we're going to be good for another year. So do we have any more slides here? Probably lots of gravel. Okay, so just 1 month ago on the left, the drought monitor showed California being in extreme and exceptional drought. And then to the right, you can see that we're trending away from the red, which is bad, and towards the yellow, which is good. So even nationwide, people are seeing that California is getting wetter, which is great. These graphs kind of tend towards being a little more alarmist as far as drought, but you can definitely, it's a constant measurement. You can see the improvement there. Next. So, so I just have some conclusions. Yeah, so we are well above average, which is fantastic. Last 3 years was super dry, and that's why it rained pretty good in December, but the ground was just soaking it up, and then it started raining really hard in January, and then you can just see puddles of water standing in fields or your front yard or whatever. So it's like the soil is finally saturated, and we're getting some good runoff. The Colorado River system is huge. It will take a number of wet years for it to kind of get out of drought. The state of California can go up or go down much quicker than the much larger Colorado River. So anyway, good news. I've been very happy. A couple more storms this year, and we'll be set.
Yeah, Paul, I really appreciate the presentation, but I want to remind everybody in the room that Mesa Water doesn't really rely on the state project or the Colorado River. We are pretty much 100% local in the water. We get our water from the groundwater basin. And while Orange County Water District and Metropolitan Water District are very dependent on those things, Orange County Water District much less so than Metropolitan. Here in Costa Mesa, we're in very good shape this year and looking ahead, as long as we continue with the conservation programs that are in place. Mesa Water is going to be just fine for a number of years.
Yeah,
Just
we,
wondering.
yeah, no, that's great. We do have, several years of, multiple years of supply, because we're all local, and, that we're unique in Orange County regarding that. So, yeah, people like to know this stuff.
And we're very helpful. This sanitary district delivers water to the sewage treatment plant, which then delivers it to the groundwater replenishment system. And so indoor water use is just fine. Conserve outdoors, use all you need to do indoors, because it all gets recycled.
Yeah, 100% of our indoor use, as Director Bachmiller said, is highly treated and sent up to the spreading grounds in Anaheim and put back into the. So a huge area, 2.4 million people of Orange County, 100% indoor is recycled, and that's very notable. Not just here but worldwide. So yeah, it's a good deal.
How much of the last rain was captured?
You know what, locally, a tremendous amount, because we have Prado Dam, and so most of the Santa Ana River watershed is inland. And most of that is caught. Typically, Orange County Water District will capture between 90 and 95% of all the water coming down the Santa Ana River. In the Delta, where the Sacramento and the San Joaquin River, that's most of the rain in the state, and then it goes out through the San Francisco Bay to the ocean. Right now, the Delta pumps are pumping at full capacity, which is 15,000 cubic feet per second, but there's 150,000 cubic feet per second going out to the ocean. Yeah, statewide, a tremendous amount of water is just kind of goes through the system and out into the ocean. A lot of that has to do with physical limitations, but they could probably be pumping double out, if not for other type of regulations that prevent them from.
The status is of a new reservoir that they've been planning just west of Sacramento.
Yeah, yeah, Sites Reservoir. Yeah, so it's moving forward. These are multi-decade type projects. They're getting a lot of state and federal grant money and a lot of urban and agricultural water district support. So it's
Still decades out.
yes, it's probably still decades out, but it's moving forward. I mean, it's like really the only large project in California that it seems to have some momentum.
Los Vaqueros, they're raising the dam at Los Vaqueros, and that's another one of the Proposition 1
Money.
funds
Yes.
that are being applied to water infrastructure. After so many years, we passed Proposition 1, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah, 10, 15 years ago. So it takes a
They're
while.
finally getting to the point that they're applying some of that money where it's always intended to be applied. And so there's some other smaller reservoir projects, improvements on reservoirs, but Los Vaqueros, that will be much larger.
Yeah, which is a Bay Area reservoir.
What's the long-term strategy for the Colorado?
So the Colorado River is very interesting. Quite a while ago, 80 years ago, there was a compact that divided the Colorado River amongst all the states. And they doled out this much water. The problem is there's really only about this much water that ever comes down to Colorado. They had a bunch of wet years in the first few decades, so it really wasn't apparent and it wasn't an issue. And since then, they've allocated water to Mexico also, and additional water to the tribes. And so kind of the day of reckoning has come, and everyone's going to have to take a haircut on Colorado. So California right now gets 4.4 million acre feet, of which Southern California gets 500,000 acre feet. so everyone's gonna have to take less. If you've heard that the Colorado River is drying up, that's incorrect. But we, you know, we don't have this much, we only have that much. Because we're taking at this higher level, yes, the reservoirs are going down, and we've been watching this for a decade. But now it's getting to levels where the alarm bells are going off in the federal government. It's like we will have an allocation. So this is like the UN, man. I mean, you got all these states and these tribes and these irrigation districts that we were here first, and so it's you know, you got the state, federal, local, and you know, the federal government's really saying we need a new way to fight this within the year, and it's just like intense negotiations and back rooms everywhere else. So, you know, it's our beautiful democratic system at work. Yeah, it's not pretty, but somehow it works. They're going to come up with some sort of plan. But that's a real deal. The Southern California, we have a right to 500,000 acre-feet off the Colorado. We've been taking 1 million acre-feet for a long time. And a lot of that is because they are doing fallowing programs with the farmers, and they have other deals with the other states. And so that aqueduct has been running full at 1 million acre-feet for decades. And we've been told, you know, next year is going to be the first year where it's not running full. We're going to be to 500,000. Yeah, but it'll be somewhere in between next year. But it's yeah, that is an issue. The state project, because of the regulations, has been sending less and less down, and that's why we have been focusing on trying to create the local supply, the local reliability that we can.
Which is the federal agency that's
The Bureau of Reclamation. Yes, yeah. So they're in the lead on this. So
Hey, Paul, one quick question. So
I could go on for
I know. So that with all of our vast resources of water locally, are we thinking about selling any of that to any other areas, or?
Not really. I mean, the water is really expensive to move around. You need these huge statewide aqueducts and pump stations and stuff to really move stuff around. You know, Costa Mesa is like 100% local and reliable, but Orange County isn't. So, you know, there's still a lot of work, I think, to get the whole region reliable before we would start even thinking about, you know, sending it somewhere else. It's not like we've got, you know, gushing water. Yeah.
That's why you're thinking gallons of water for like $20 a pop pot.
Oh, no, I'm not thinking anything. I know we've got a lot of water, and it's good water too.
Right.
I appreciate
Yes. And
I don't take it for granted.
I had a pool guy call me the other day and say, how much do we pay, let's say, per gallon? 'Cause I have this customer who doesn't want to fill his pool. Because he says, you know, he's had the same water in it for, you know, years. And I'm like, just drain it and fill your pool. And so how much exactly do we pay, you know, like per gallon? I'm like, well, for 1.5 gallons, we charge you a penny. So if it's a 10,000 gallon pool, it'll be $66 to, you know, to fill your pool. So tell the guy, you know, if he hasn't done it in years.
Yeah, call vector control.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you want to talk about your costs?
Sure, yeah. And so we've been talking a lot about community involvement and community engagement. This is Mesa Water's Go On Mesa Water. We're going to be having this February. When is that? Oh yeah, right there, February 11th, which is a Saturday. We did this before COVID, and it was, you know, very successful. And really, the focus is that the water is clean and you can drink it straight from the tap. Especially on the west side, there's a large member of the group of the community who, grew up maybe thinking that water is not safe from the tap, and then they go and they buy expensive bottled water, especially for the cooking and the drinking. And you really don't need to do that. You don't need to do that in Costa Mesa, anywhere in California or anywhere in the US. The water is safe to drink. So if you're barely making ends meet, don't, spend water on an expensive vending machine. So we do have a vending machine at our area. Instead of, charging 50 cents a gallon, we charge 5 cents a gallon, and we're still ripping them off. But it does take some effort to keep the machine up and running and all. So I guess we're breaking even on that. But our special guest speaker is going to be the new chairman of the board of Metropolitan Water District. They're the ones who own the Colorado River Aqueduct and buy all the water from the state. So they're the big dog in Southern California. Adon Ortega is the first Hispanic board chairman, and he's going to be there giving remarks in English and Spanish to whoever shows up. If you can go to the next, and so we're going to have a lot of booths. We're going to have food, games, prizes, music, and a lot of services there. City of Costa Mesa has graciously is donating the mobile recreation. Costa Mesa Police Department will be there. Hope Hospital, Latino Health Access, Save Our Youth, and others. So this was really successful 3 years ago when we did this. It's going to be at our headquarters in our parking lot, as you can see right there. And everybody's invited, and we're sending flyers out to the whole west side, inviting everybody to show up. So hopefully that'll be a success.
Excellent. Okay, we're well along in the morning, so if there's nothing else, we'll adjourn you. Again, if you don't mind, thank our chefs.
I just want to point out, we didn't have that on the agenda, but Earth Day is on April 22nd, and we'll have an event like last year, so we look forward to your participation in that.
And school district, you got the next one on the 21st of April. It's all yours. We read our chefs out really reasonably, and they don't rip you off like these. Yeah, it's really good. Thank you all for being with us.